road and street circuits throughout the country. But this teacher should keep an eye open for the studious smart one, the class clown. And most of all, your own family. Look out, Jeff, because Brother Jim's on a mission and is starting up a family feud here in Vancouver. It's round 7 of the CASCAR Super Series, the Canadian Tire 100 from Concord Pacific Place. And hello again, everyone. I'm Ron St. Clair, along with Billy Rose Jr. here in the booth, Todd Lewis trackside. Billy, Vancouver is one tough track to tame and even tougher to pass on.
Ron, this track is very similar to Toronto, but man, oh man, getting around that Jeff Lapsevich is going to be a really hard task for these fellows here today. 2 distinct passing zones, turn 1 and turn 6. Horsepower and patience will be the name of the game here in Vancouver.
12 turns all told here on the circuit. Well, coming into today's event, Peter Gibbons holds a slight lead over Don Thompson Jr. and David Whitlock in the Castro point standings, and there's Jeff Lapsevich sitting 4th. Now we have 5 Western drivers here, and the guy who leads the EMCO Western point standings is with our very own Todd Lewis.
Thanks, Ron. The EMCO Western Series has been a real battle between Ron Larson of Cornell, BC, and this man, Kevin Dowler from Sherwood Park, Alberta. Kevin, you have a great battle in the EMCO Western Series. You're back here at the streets of Vancouver again. You brought your 2-car team. You had a real close chance to win this event in 2002. You tangled with Jeff Lapsevich. Can you win it?
It's going to be a big show, that's for sure. You know, we're really excited. Our EMCO Taurus is first time out of the box road racing this year. You know, qualified 3rd, should have been 2nd, but Pete got a good run there at the end. I'm really excited about being up front again at these great Molson events.
We're looking forward to a big show from Kevin Dowler in the EMCO Ford Taurus. As always, these events start with qualifying, and it was a wild session here on the streets of Vancouver. CASCAR Super Series did this series proud. We had a great run by Peter Gibbons, who put the car into the wall early in the qualifying session. His team worked overtime. They got it ready. After the big scrape, he was back on, and Pete Gibbons had the 2nd quick time. Winning the Mopar Pole Award was Jeff Lapsevich. He has been very fast all weekend long, a time of 1:22.962. Jeff Lapsevich sets a new track record here on the streets of Vancouver. And Jeff, you've been teaching these guys how to do it in the last few road course events. Is the plan the same? Get out front and have them make them come and get you?
Yeah, we're gonna, see if we can put a little space in between us and 2nd, and see if we just, just like we did in Toronto, get out front, save the car. So we got something left for the end. Just try to take it easy on the tires and brakes, and we'll go race them later if we have to.
All right, Jeff Lapsevich looking for another win here on the streets of Vancouver. When we return, all drivers will have engines fired, and we'll be ready to race in the Canadian Tire 100 from Vancouver.
Welcome back to the CASCAR Canadian Tire 100 from the streets of Vancouver. And today's program is brought to you by Mopar, original equipment, parts and accessories. By NTN Bearings, the official bearing of CASCAR. By Castro GTX, maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. And by Green Line Hose and Fittings. 22 teams on their warm-up laps here for this 35-lap event, sponsored by the Lower Mainland Canadian Tire stores. 21 all told here in the Vancouver area. Local area hot shoe Glenn Mueller in his debut here in CASCAR. He'll pilot that Green Line Dodge prepared by Whitlock Motorsports. He'll carry an onboard camera for us today as well, Billy.
Well, Ron, as mentioned, 5 EMCO West Series drivers here. Dowler, Siebert, Wade Lee, James Ward, and Mueller. 4 of them have extensive road course experience.
Yeah, James Ward might be the odd guy out. Time now for the Leland starting grid, and it will be Jeff Lapsevich with that brand new pole time here from Castro Center in the Tim Hortons Monte Carlo. Pete Gibbons alongside him. Row number 2, Kevin Dowler, the all-time lap leader here in Vancouver, and Kerry Mix, the Ironman of CASCAR. Trevor Siebert from Williams Lake, BC, and Scott Steckley, an Ontario driver, in row 3. Row 4 has Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Dodge, 7th qualified spot. Don Thompson Jr. right there alongside David Whitlock and DJ Kennington in the Castro Dodge in row 5. Row 6, Jim Lapsevich. He'll be tough. Mark Dilley in the NTM Bearing Dodge from the 12th spot. 13th is Mark Miller, the only American driver here, and Wade Lee from Calgary alongside him, 3-time Western champion. Mark Swain of the Port Perry, Ontario, and Glenn Mueller from Richmond, BC, in his rookie voyage here in CASCAR. Young J.R. Fitzpatrick, 16 years old, alongside Brad Graham here in the 9th row. 10th row, the veteran Dave Jacobs of the Mount Hope, and Rob Graham involved in this rookie battle this year. The leader of the rookie points is Pete Shepard Jr. in the Addo Dodge. He'll start 21st. James Ward of the Kelowna and the Lordco Taurus is 22nd.
Well, we'll take a look at the Carhartt race analysis. 22 cars will take the green flag here today, 2.85 kilometers, 12 turns. That's 35 laps for $87,000, Ron.
All right, couple of passing zones, as you mentioned, that we'll be keeping a close eye on throughout the race here today. Corner 1, as we get a look right here, and that's at the end of the front straightaway. Then turn 6, and that's at the back end down Quebec Street. Some of the drivers might look at turn 7 there as well.
Well, that's a great camera angle on Dowler's feet there. You'll see some really talented footwork out of that man here today.
Well, we have the show covered for you. 8 other cars will carry an onboard camera here. And what an unbelievable day we have here in Vancouver weather-wise, Billy.
Well, I don't think we ever have any bad weather out here in Vancouver as these cars side by side coming up onto the front stretch to take the green flag, Ron.
33 degrees, but the track temperature upwards to about 120 Fahrenheit. As the cars roll up onto the front straightaway, we're getting ready to go. Starter Steve Chabanash of the EMCO Western Series with the green flag in hand. And we are going racing on the streets of Vancouver. All right, down into turn number 1 for the first time, and it will be Lapsevich. Dowler, he was quoted as saying early he wants to get right in there and show that 23 driver that there's more than one good shoe on the street circuits here. So far, he sits third.
Well, through turns 1 and 2, clean. Siebert and Dowler line up. The teammate's going to take a run at that leader here as we go on board with DJ Kennington out underneath the bridge and down the backstretch. This is where I talk about horsepower in the draft, heading for turn 6.
Get a look out the back at that Carhartt Maytag Chevrolet of Mark Mueller. A pretty good run here last year in Vancouver. Now down into turn 6 under braking. Here's Dowler. He gets out front of Gibbons. This is one of the key braking zones and passing areas on this circuit today, and he takes advantage of it.
It'll also be one of the corners with the most action today. We've seen Dowler's car slide as he got down there in the braking zone, but his extensive road course experience kept that car under control. But some of these oval guys will miss that corner today, Ron.
This is reverse interoval right here. Right-hand turns as Don Thompson Jr. the Home Hardware Chevrolet tries to make a move here on the Mopar Dodge of Ron Beauchamp Jr. They'll have to get into single file here through the S's. They're coming up on them now. Turn 10.
That was a strong move around the outside. Not a preferred groove on a road course, but Donnie Thompson's an excellent driver, and he made it stick around the outside.
Get a good look there at Kerry Mix, who's got a new sponsor on board. Of course, Power Water and Addo Insurance helping out that 02 Taurus right there, the Iron Man of CASCAR. Early in the Canadian Tire 100, Don Thompson Jr., the 3-time reigning champion, needs to get up there and maybe lead some laps, or at least better Pete Gibbons in that Canadian Tire Chevrolet as he trails him in the points. Ron Beauchamp Jr. Great run in Toronto here in their last show. Finished 4th. Right behind him is Jim Lapsevich in car number 25, Tim Horton Chevrolet. Good battle for position. Pretty much single file. They've got a long time to sort this out, but if you're about mid-pack, you want to get up there as quick as you can.
Well, there's Jimmy stuck in the draft behind that Mopar Dodge of Ronnie Beauchamp Jr. As they make the turn, he'll look inside. Oh, hard braking. He's got the spot heading into turn 6.
Well, that's that preferred passing zone we talked about in turn 6. Now back into the inner oval for the second time. Right-hander here, turn number 7. They cut that corner awfully tight. Through the apex of 7 and 8. Beauchamp tried to stay with Lapsevich, but the Chevrolet scoots away on him here.
Well, in talking to Jeff Lapsevich, he says the key here is to be really smooth, brake a little bit earlier, and it doesn't hurt to have that Mike McCall set up underneath your road course car either.
Well, Ron Beauchamp Jr., the Mopar Dodge, they've tried a bunch of different things, mostly with the springs, trying to get the chassis to set up nicely for them here on the street circuit. Ronnie was complaining of the front end being a little tight, so they played with the camber, tried to get the right distribution of weight. Good racing going on here just outside the top 5 right now. There goes Don Thompson Jr. to the inside of the Herb Group Pontiac of Scott Steckler.
Well, Donnie Thompson didn't qualify near as good as he'd like to, but he's currently running 6 and going to the front.
Well, Donnie's had some pretty good runs here in Vancouver, and he's been pretty good on the road courses, generally speaking, over the years here as he tries to get an unprecedented 4th national championship. DJ Kennington going by there in the Castro Dodge. He's just outside the top 10. Has a pretty good battle going on with Mark Dilley in the NTM Bearing Dodge right there, and Dave Whitlock in the Avenue Works Dodge in front of them. Now more under braking here in turn 6.
Donnie Thompson outbrakes another road course specialist going into turn 6, and that'll be for 5th spot.
Well, that's Trevor Siebert there in the 09 machine. Scott Steckley right there as well in the 22 car as they work off of turn number 8. Back up here to the left-hander in 9, and then back to the S's again. Now this is where they have to get, well, they're going to try to get into single file. Different exit into that corner there for Kerry Mix.
This very well could be the best battle on the racetrack. Gibbons driving, don't forget, he crashed that car in qualifying. It's a totally rebuilt machine under Peter Gibbons, that #1 Monte Carlo.
He's the points leader, and of course they had problems in Toronto, you remember, with their shifter, and they fixed that in about 13 seconds, I think, on pit road. Got him back into the race to maintain the points lead coming into Vancouver here.
Well, they're still going at it, but look over the mirror there. That's Donnie Thompson closing in on that top 3 battle.
Well, Thompson has had success on the road courses, as I mentioned, particularly Mossport. He's very, very strong there. Donnie had some problems with the motor earlier today, though, or I guess it was yesterday in practice sessions. Actually had some problems, had a valve intake issue. Out the back of the race leader right now, Jeff Lapsevich, and no one else in sight here at the Canadian Tire 100 in Vancouver. Welcome back to the Canadian Tire 100 from sunny Vancouver. Number 23, Jeff Lapsevich, the class of the field. He's checked out on everyone here.
Well, he's schooling them all, but here comes Don Thompson Jr. inside Kerry Mix. That'll be for 4th spot.
Good move there by Donnie as he gets by the 02 of Mix. Mix said his car was very strong, particularly in second gear. He said he actually hit 8,000 RPM earlier. That's a little too high, I think, isn't it?
Well, here in CASCAR, it's pretty diverse. You know, the Dodges, they don't turn as much RPM, but they make a tremendous amount of torque. The Ford has always been a little torquey motor, but will rev. Now, the Chevrolet, on the other hand, will turn 8,000 all day long, especially that man in that #1 who builds his own motors down there in Brewersville.
Well, fuel won't be an issue here today, and I don't imagine tires will unless they get a late caution or something, and some of the contenders you'd like to come in. I like the way they sashay through these corners, 11 and 12, as they work back up onto the front straightaway. Just 6 laps into this Canadian Tire 100, and it's still Jeff Lapsevich up front. Here's a look now at that 09 of Trevor Siebert. He's under pressure. The 22 is Scott Steckley right there.
Well, that just proves how good these CASCAR drivers really are, Ron. We have several road course specialists in the field here today. A young Scott Steckley, traditionally an oval track driver, getting really good at these road courses.
All right, through 3rd and 4th gear now up on Quebec Street. This is where they can really flat out fly here. It's the only part of the track that most of the drivers will hit 4th gear.
Well, they pull 4th just as they come through that kink, getting the draft. You see Donnie taking a look at Mr. Horsepower down the inside, hard under braking, 3rd gear, down into 2nd gear, turn it on in, and he's got the spot.
Now, will he shift up to 3rd through the inner oval, or will he stay in 2nd all the way through here?
Depending on the gear he's got in the back of the car, 2nd gear down through here, he'll carry that all the way around to the kink on there in the front stretch. As we take a good look at Mark Swain, picks up a spot on the Eon Dodge of Wade Lee.
A couple of drivers we haven't talked too much about, but there's the battle for 13th. Mark Swain in the General Electric Snap-on Chevrolet. Lee driving an in-house Calgary car for Guion Racing. They call this car the ambidextrous car. It's a Western car for the Western Series, and it's its first ever road course there in car number 79 for the 3-time champion. And on board with Glenn Mueller, a rookie in CASCAR, with his 5th race here at the Vancouver Indy.
Well, he's got a lot of road course experience, but these are big old heavy stock cars. It takes a lot to get used to how these things handle, roll, and dive. They do have a tremendous amount of horsepower and torque, though, and he'll get used to that as the day goes on.
39-year-old Glenn Mueller from nearby Richmond, getting through there pretty good. The 8 car, Mark Miller from Michigan. There's Mark Swain again. Good close-up look at that Chevrolet. And Wade Lee right in behind him. And again, this is 12th, 13th, and 14th. Now, meantime, back up front, it's still number 23, Jeff Lapsevich, the leader here at the Canadian Tire 100. We'll get a look at him here shortly. There he is. He was recently voted #1 road racer of the year in the recent Castrol Inside Track Reader's Choice Awards. Congratulations, Jeff.
Well, that's something to get that voted on by your peers and the people that watch all the motorsports racing going on. They all recognize that Cat races all kinds of different vehicles all over North America.
And of course, he has 4 consecutive road or street race victories here in CASCAR, winning last year in Toronto and here in Vancouver. Mossport earlier this year, and our most recent race in Toronto. There's Pete Gibbons, a guy who could challenge him here today. After all, Gibbons, coming off that #2 spot, had a real good qualifying time. Jeff Lapsevich, though, a 122.962, about 0.8 of a second faster than the #1 car.
just watching Gibbons come through that corner back there. A little bit of tire rub on the left rear. Looks like the rear end could be moving around, or maybe a body support. We'll see if that affects the car as we go on here, as he's under attack from Kerry Mix.
Well, Mixie's had a couple of really strong runs this year as well. He's right in the hunt here for the national championship. He'll have to have a real strong second half, but I certainly wouldn't count him out. 0-2 Kerry Mix out of Mount Albert, Ontario.
Now we head down the backstretch. Mixie put that thing in the draft. He's got Siebert in tow with Steckley right behind him. Let's see if they got enough muscle to get by Gibbons down the backstretch into the braking zone at turn 6.
Right in behind, we had a look at the 09. There he is, top of the screen. Trevor Siebert out of Williams Lake, BC, trying to track down these two. He can see clearly here in Vancouver. There's a nice move by Steckley to get around Siebert. Boy, our thoughts go out to all the residents in the Williams Lake area devastated by forest fires there this year.
Siebert loses another spot to Lapsevich as Steckley hung him out to dry. Oh, contact, Miller and Wade Lee.
That's at that treacherous turn 6 entry right there. And Miller goes all the way around. He'll try to find an escape route to get back onto the track. Lee loops it around and he's back into the inner oval. Have a look here at the Mopar replay.
Well, we got down in there, too much rear brake. Wade Lee's in the braking zone, too deep around. He goes and collects Miller. Miller's got to go down the escape road.
A little bit of debris on the track as well. We do have a second angle here in the Mopar replay. On board now with Miller. Oh, boy, he gets stroked pretty good right there. Down to Todd Lewis in the Carhartt pit.
Mark Miller along pit road in the number 8 car. They're going to work with the right front tire problem, a flat he's brought along pit road. Also another problem for Mark Miller. They've lost their power steering. He is really going to have his hands full here in the remaining laps.
Well, we'll certainly check out how physically fit that young man is with no power steering, especially the road course. Oh, Steckley scrubs the wall in the kink on the right rear, and oh, sorry, that's the left rear, and it's tore up a little bit as you see the bodywork hanging out the side.
Well, they did
Mixie to the outside. That's the wrong side. Will he make it move? The crossover move, Ronnie. Watch this, to the inside. Oh, man, this is getting exciting. I said earlier, this is the best race in the racetrack right here. Gibbons appears to be holding these guys up just a little bit, but his horsepower down the backstretch is saving his tail.
Yeah, he does appear to be holding up Mix for sure. This is the old Dinosaur 1998 Lincoln chassis here for Kerry Mix. Pulled this one out of the mothballs and it's still working good. Problems with Glenn Mueller now. Oh boy, this is a tough break here for the number 10 machine. David Whitlock prepared car, the Green Line Hose and Fittings Dodge. Now he's headed to the pits. We have a report that he may have hit the outside wall in that kink area as well. Up front, still the 23 of Lapsevich. There's the 35 of Dollar, still running extremely strong here in the MCO Taurus.
A really good look at all them pedal work inside there. He's still doing a 2-foot brake. You see he puts that left foot over there to keep it off the brake so he's not riding it. Full throttle. He'll use just a little bit of, oh, there we are. Up shift, clutch pedal, up shift, clutch pedal. He's a magician.
Yeah, and he has to get going here. He'll have to disappear on Don Thompson Jr. if he can. Here's Thompson. He started 8th. He's on the charge, drafting down Quebec Street up into turn number 6. He's going to try to get him under braking for 2nd. He's got him.
He did it. He did it. Another oval turn road race specialist, Don Thompson Jr.
And a little wave, a little thank you right there as well. Donnie Thompson up in the 2nd spot. Here's a good battle for position now as the 09 of Siebert and the 60 of Ron Beauchamp Jr. in the Mopar Dodge duke it out. That's for 8th.
Oh, Beauchamp was in there, you know, but he just kind of gives Siebert a break and backed on out of the hole. You have to wait for another opportunity. Steckley all over the back of Kerry Mix now, trying to look at that position.
A couple of good warriors going at it right there. There's Beauchamp again. Now the back up towards the front. Kerry Mix, Steckley, Jimmy Lapsevich, Siebert, and Beauchamp. Then you see Whitlock and Mark Dilley. They're a little bit off the pace here, still trying to grab a spot inside the top 10. Actually, Whitlock is 10th right now. Some shuffling going on here through traffic as they get by the 88 of Dave Jacobs.
That's the 81 of James Ward as well. So the leaders encountering traffic. Gibbons, the master, gets through first, chased heavily by Kerry Mix.
Yeah, that Lordco car we just saw is an old Dollar machine, and 88 Dave Jacobs in there, one of the CASCAR veterans. Great to see him out here in Vancouver making the haul all the way out here. He's in the top 20 in the national point standings again this year. TJ Kennington, we just had a quick look at him there in the Castro Dodge, running a little bit further back in the pack outside the top 10. Boy, you've got a lot of traffic here on Quebec Street again.
Now Steckley inside the lap car 88. Beauchamp with a big move down the inside, and he'll get the spot from Trevor Siebert. the Mopar Dodge gets another position.
Well, that moves him up into 9th position right now, and I would have to think the spotters play a big role in that right there at the top end of turn number 6.
Well, to keep them safe, you're at turn 6 and turn 10. That's the places where you need the most help from your spotter. This man here doesn't need any help at all. He just needs cruise control.
Having an unbelievable run here in the streets of Vancouver. Jeff Lapsevich leading the Canadian Tire 100. Back with more in a moment. One of the top rookies on the CASCAR Tour this year.
Well, we'll have a look at the Mopar replay. Here's Jimmy Lapsevich weaving his way through traffic as everybody else was slowing down. Jimmy was hard on the gas, no penalty. He picked up several positions.
Continue to look here at the Mopar replay. And he gets by Gibbons, who grabs a spot as well. Now there's the 35 of Dowler in on pit road. And so it's still Jeff Lapsevich. He had that big lead, though. That'll be nullified as a result of our first caution so far. Tough one for Dowler, though. He's been so strong here in Vancouver. But Jeff Lapsevich leads the way here in the Canadian Tire 100. We'll take another break and return with more in a moment. Under caution in the Canadian Tire 100, Todd Lewis is caught up with the EMCO Western points leader.
Kevin Dowler said it was going to be a big show, but this is not the kind of performance you were looking for.
It's too bad we let Donnie go there only because, you know, he was running good. You know, he was going to run down Lapsevich, and, you know, then I give him a gift and I give him a full course caution. So may the best man win today. It's going to be a different show now, I think.
Crew's having a look at it, but I don't know if Kevin Dowler will be out there anytime soon.
Well, Dowler really wanted a shot at Jeff Lapsevich here today. He was saying he's not the only guy as we go back to green here. This tightens up the field again, Billy.
Well, only for a minute. These road courses single file. The leader can really get a jump as the top 5 have pulled away from the rest of the field.
In the top 5 is Don Thompson Jr. in the Home Hardware Chevrolet. He's a +6 on the day so far. Started 8th, now 2nd. And Jim Lapsevich in the 25 car gained all those spots under that caution situation. Is now a +8 as he runs in 3rd.
Oh, it's a really good speed shot there as they come out of turn 3, head down the backstretch in the draft and let her all hang out.
Ron Beauchamp Jr. there, the Mopar Dodge, still trying to fend off the 09 and Trevor Siebert. He's been hanging around all day inside the top 10. And now we get a look here at David Whitlock in the Avenue West NMT Dodge. Mark Dilley in the NTM Bearing Dodge right behind him, and DJ Kennington. So we look out the rear of his car now. He's been in some fluid of some sort here in the Castro Dodge.
Well, you know, them caution laps and it's really hot here. His overflow could be out the back of the car. That could be just a little spray in the camera from that out of them slow caution laps. Doesn't seem to affect the vehicle though, Ronnie, as he's taking another look at that NTM Dodge up front of Dilley.
Yeah, I was just going to say he looks strong, sitting just outside the top 10 right now in 11th spot. DJ started in 10th. Up front, though, look at this. It's tight here as Jeff Lapsevich leads Don Thompson Jr. by a car length as they work through turns 11 and 12 and back up onto the front straightaway.
Well, that 23 car lost his power steering in this race last year, and it didn't seem to hinder him, but he's on the march today. But the real fast car right now is that black number 4 of Donnie Thompson. He had a little whoops there trying to chase down the 23. But Lapsevich's lead is evaporated now, and Donnie's on his tail. We'll see who's the best man now.
And a little bit of whoops here cost you about 1/10 of a second, and that's tough to get back again, isn't it?
Well, because then you get more aggressive. In us oval racers, we get more aggressive, and you go slower on a road course. Because remember, slow down to go fast when it comes to these road courses.
Donnie Thompson, incidentally, had to change motors. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast he had a valve problem with the road course motor, so he's got the oval plant in there right now, putting out some pretty good ponies for him. Meantime, a little bit further back, here's a battle for 13th going on. The 84 of J.R. Fitzpatrick and the 10 of Mueller in the Green Line Hose and Fittings Dodge. And on board with Mark Miller, sitting 19th right now, 1 lap down. But guess what? He got the rookie qualifying record here, the 124.986.
Mueller sticks it inside the 19 of Brad Graham as they go into turn 6, as Miller is still back there hunting around, but he is a lap down.
Yeah, guess who held the rookie record before Miller in that 8 car? The Carhartt Maytag Chevrolet set that today. Give you a hint. He's leading the race. Can you believe that? On board again with Mueller here. Just got by the Challenger Motor Freight Pontiac and Brad Graham for position here just moments ago.
Oh, Donnie up over the curb. Oh, I'm sorry. That's JR up over the curb really hard there.
Teammate of Donnie Thompson. Here's a good look at that Green Line Hose and Fitting Dodge. Miller 1 lap down, and Brad Graham in the 19 car in the Pontiac. There's David Whitlock. Avenue West, NMT Dodge, and teammate Mark Dilley, the NTN Bearing Dodge, right in behind him. Both are trying to get a top 10 finish here today. It's a battle for 9th right now.
Well, we're on board there with Mark Dilley in the 64 NTN Dodge as he works his way down the backstretch. Sitting pretty comfortable in there. He's not working the wheel very hard. He is in the draft behind the boss, so everything's pretty casual.
Trevor Siebert, Ron Beauchamp Jr. still battling. There's the 25 of Jim Lapsevich right in front of him. Looks like he might slip back a little bit here. He's back to 6th now. Remember, he was running as high as 3rd there a couple of laps ago.
Well, I seen some smoke off the car as he came into that corner, like he anchored down the brakes a little bit too hard in the braking zone, and that'll cost you time because the car won't turn in quite as clean.
Lapsevich in 6th as mentioned, so he started this race way back in the 11th spot. He's still having a good run today, but considering he was up in 3rd looking at the podium, this isn't good. Scott Steckley in the Herb Pontiac has that rear view mirror full of the 25 car Lapsevich. And right behind him is Ron Beauchamp Jr., then Trevor Siebert. Well, the 25 car does appear off the pace. Todd Lewis is standing by with a long-time crew chief of that machine.
Billy, Jim Lapsevich just lost a couple of positions on track. You talked to him. What's the problem?
We changed the compounds on the brake pads this morning and thought it might have helped us. He said it was a bad choice, and we're regretting it now, but we'll get him the next time.
Looks like Jim might have his hands full for the rest of the afternoon, Ron.
Yeah, that's right. Can you explain that for us, Billy?
Well, Ronnie, I mentioned earlier that I seen him lock the brake up going into the corner. The brake pad works at certain temperatures better, and the hotter you get them, the more they grab in certain cases, and that's probably what's happened here. You really use the brake pads hard here. These oval guys don't brake early. We talked earlier about easy in and fast off. Well, the oval guys, they like to drive them on in and stop them and turn them. And obviously the wrong compound choice. He's locking up the brakes, and it's evil to drive when it does that.
On board with the Mopar Dodge driver, Ron Beauchamp Jr. out of Windsor, Ontario. He and Siebert waging a real good battle here for position throughout this Canadian Tire 100. Back to Jim Lapsevich. What's that mean here for, well, there's his brother Jeff still leading. Don Thompson Jr. in the home hardware Chevrolet right there. What's it mean for Jimmy in the long haul today?
Well, he virtually, I'm not sure if they put a harder or a softer pad on, he could virtually run out of brakes.
And that's not good.
No.
Well, he's one of 17 Eastern drivers on this circuit today. There's one of them, two of them actually. Pete Gibbons and Kerry Mix in the Power Water Addo Associates Dodge. Battle for 3rd spot right now. Gibbons, you know, we talked about him earlier. Looks like probably Mix is a little bit better through most of the circuit here, but he can't get by that one car.
Well, you know what? We talked about it and talked about it on the oval about Mr. Horsepower, and watch him pull away right here. There's where he's beating him. Donnie Thompson taking a look down the inside, but just wishful thinking at this time.
Got a report too that the 81 car is parked for the day. Tough deal for James Ward of the Kelowna Lordco Auto Parts machine.
Well, we got to look out the back of that Retrocom Tim Hortons Monte Carlo of Lapsevich out the back of the home hardware car there, and you see he's got a comfortable 4 or 5 car lengths lead. No, hey,
there's his son.
There's Junior making sure Dad's doing it right.
All right, and his dad is leading the Canadian Tire 100 here in Vancouver. We'll take a timeout. Back in Vancouver, and you're on board with the Tim Hortons Monte Carlo leader, Jeff Lapsevich. Second place driver, Don Thompson Jr. in the home hardware Chevrolet, charging hard. And look at this, he moves to the inside under braking.
Oh, Lapsevich around the outside, making it tough. He's going to hold him off or no, down the short chute. Pinches him a little bit. Will he beat him? Thompson sticks it in there. Oh, over the tires. Holy smokes, this is great racing, Ronnie.
Well, that's the first challenge we've had for the lead here in the Canadian Tire 100. Donnie Thompson's good to go, but we've got more problems. This is the 8 car of Mark Mueller. Oh, look at this. We've got the 25 of Jim Lapsevich and Ron Beauchamp Jr. off track here in turn 6. And there goes Jimmy scooting by. Oh, boy, mayhem here on this restart.
Well, you close them up. Cautions breed cautions, and here we go again.
Full course caution coming out for the second time. Let's have a look at the Mopar replay of the Beauchamp incident. He's under braking, and
well, you know, just too much rear brake as he got down in there. He downshifted into second, got on the brake, and the car did the hospital hop and kicked out on him and collected Lapsevich on the way through. Oh, we see some smoke out of the 10 car, some brake smoke out of the 8 car. He dusts her into the tire wall.
And that was up in turn number 3 right there, so it brings out the full course caution. Another Mopar replay of this incident here with Mark Miller, and that's going to hurt a little bit right there. Oh, look at this. Glenn Mueller.
My God, we've seen smoke out that thing, Ronnie. Now he's got both ends chewed off it.
Now the Green Line Hose and Fittings Dodge looks like he is in a pile of trouble here right now. I'm not so sure he's even going to get going here. He's into the turn 9 fence. And all of this happened during that last Mopar replay, so let's see if we can get a look here what happened with Mueller on this Mopar replay. Now we did see some smoke, Billy. Maybe a tire was going down there.
Yeah, I'd speculate a right rear was going down, and he was trying to get caught up to the field to make a pit stop to get that repaired, and he just didn't make it that far.
Well, there you see the right rear is down, and lots of carnage on that car. He's out of the car, though. He's okay as the Dodge Pace vehicle picks up the balance of the field going by Mark Miller's car here. Yeah, that's too bad for Mark. He, you know, really, despite the fact he was a lap down today, he looked good. This kid's got some talent. And there's the after effect of the Don Thompson Jr. attempted pass.
Well, it's kind of hard to say, but these road course specialists are falling like flies, except for that man up front who continues to lead over Don Thompson Jr., who can get her done on a road course as well.
All right, working our second caution flag of the Canadian Tire 100 here in Vancouver. We'll be back with more CASCAR racing after this. Welcome back to round number 7 of the 2004 CASCAR Super Series. We're back to green, working lap 27 of this 35-lap event. Jeff Lapsevich has led every lap so far in the Canadian Tire 100. Almost lost it a couple of moments ago, though, Bill.
Well, we got a report from Todd that young Caden had keyed the mic and was babbling to his dad over the radio, threw his concentration off. Thompson got a good shot at him. Now you can see all that damage on the front valence of Thompson's car. It shouldn't really be a factor, even though the down the backstretch where they're going right now is really important aerodynamically, but he'll stick her in the draft and get her done.
Well, he had the bunny hop over those tires. Fortunately, the only damage was to the nose piece. Doesn't appear anything else underneath the car is hurting as he continues to run. Look at this group of cars powering down Quebec Street. Jimmy Lapsevich on the charge, trying to move by the NTM bearing Dodge of Mark Dilley. Can't do it as they work on their braking now into turn number 6.
Oh, Ronnie Beauchamp in that number 60, taking a look at DJ Kennington. We haven't seen much at DJ today as, J.R. Fitzpatrick gets a spot from Mark Swain.
All right, J.R. Fitzpatrick now up to 13th position. Swain drops a little bit there. There he is in that 3 car. Still on the lead lap, though. Most of the drivers are. In fact, let's have a look at the CRS up-and-comers board. Don Thompson Jr. and teammate John Ryan lead all drivers with a +6 today. There's P. Shepard Jr. and Rob Graham next in line at a +5. The record, though, in Vancouver is a +17 held by Robin Buck a couple of years ago. Well, they're happy in the J.R. Fitzpatrick pit, though. Todd Lewis standing by. Todd?
Ted McAllister is the crew chief for JR, and he's having quite an afternoon here in between the concrete blocks. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, he's really impressing all of us. He's doing a really great job today.
Doing a terrific job. That rookie battle, very tight, Ron.
Yeah, Ted's short on words there, but JR and him get along quite well.
Well, Teddy might be short on words, but after a couple adult beverages, he's a heck of a dancer.
Well, maybe sometime he gets to victory lane. We'll see as JR powers by. Here comes the 3 car, the 19 of Graham. That's Brad Graham, former track champion at Delaware Speedway. There's the Addo and Associates Dodge, P. Shepard Jr., car number 50. Boy, he's having a strong run here today. Started 21st. And he's sitting 15th right now.
He'll get more used to these road courses. This is his first year in these big heavy stock cars. He's used to the sportsman style cars and street stocks. Petey's quite a talent. He'll do quite well as he gets more time in these heavy race cars.
Don Thompson Jr., you can see some of that damage in the front end of that car from the tire wall, still running second. Canadian Tire Chevrolet is third, Pete Gibbons. And then you've got Kerry Nixon fourth. 22 Steckley is fifth. The 09 of Siebert is sixth. And Whitlock and Dilley and DJ Kennington. And coming up on lap number 31, Todd Lewis is in the Canadian Tire pits with Dave Hernan. Todd?
Dave Hernan, Pete's had quite an afternoon in that Canadian Tire Chevy. He kind of bent the car up for you, and you spent the day putting it back together. Have you got the afterburners for that rocket?
I think he's giving it all he can right now. We've done an awesome job. The team was really pulled together this weekend, and I think we just settled into third. I consider that a victory today.
Great job by Peter Gibbons and this whole Canadian Tire team. As you saw, that right side of the car just about ripped right off during the qualifying.
Yeah, a lot of people have had problems. Even the race leader, Jeff Lapsevich, tagged the outside wall coming up Quebec Street earlier in practice as well, but he's showing no effects of it right now.
Well, she's pretty much single file racing right now, and it'll stay that way for a few laps until these guys really figured out that it's down to the short strokes and time to hang it out.
Well, we've had 2 full course cautions now. What does that mean to the tires in the late going?
Well, heat cycles on the tires, they're a little slicker. The worst thing is on these road courses between the narrows, there's so many. Oh, there's a pass down the inside as the Addo Dodge and the 3 of Mark Swain get by Brad Graham.
That's for 13th spot right there.
Well, even racing way back there, Ronnie, she's good in this CASCAR racing through the whole field. But back to the tires, they'll pick up marbles on the outside of the groove, and on the restart, you got to make sure you get the marbles off, or the thing will just slip and slide until you do get those marbles gone. 3 laps to go, Ronnie.
Mark Swain, then Pete Shepard Jr., Brad Graham, and Rob Graham back up a little bit closer to the top of the field for 7th spot is David Whitlock in the 39, Mark Nilly right there in the 64 car. And they've got company right in behind them as well. As again, Jim Lapsevich continues to run strong in that 25 machine, DJ Kennington and Ron Beauchamp. 4 of those 5 cars all Dodge, but now up front, Jeff Lapsevich in the Tim Hortons Chevrolet, still the leader, and Don Thompson Jr. is fading.
Well, the crowd seems happy, Ron. This has been an awesome CASCAR race again here in Vancouver.
49,000 and change announced here in Vancouver today. And we're getting down to the short strokes, as Billy says. Back with more of the Canadian Tire 100 in a moment. Caster Center, Ontario's Jeff Lapsevich and his Tim Hortons machine maneuver around turns 11 and 12. One more time as they click off another lap here in the Canadian Tire 100 and up to the white flag, 1 to go here in Vancouver.
Well, not a challenge in sight. Don Thompson Jr. sitting back there in second. He's took his best shot at him. Mixie's going to take another shot at Peter Gibbons, that number 1 Monte Carlo on the outside. Will he dive in the corner off? No, not this time. Stackley looking on, Siebert looking on, and the teammates Whitlock and Dilly.
Well, some great racing here in this final lap. Don Thompson Jr. looks like a bridesmaid again for him as we watch Whitlock and Dilly battle it out. Don Thompson sitting second in behind that 23 car. Exact same order for first and second as we saw in Toronto in our last show.
Down the backstretch for the last time. 3rd gear heading for 4th in the draft. Oh, JR sideways. Gibbons using up that horsepower. Mixing to the outside in the draft. Here we go for turn 6.
Well, we thought all race long that one car might have been holding up the 0-2. We'll see if he has anything for him as they work the inner oval for the final time.
Oh, there we are. Look at the top of the screen. Gibbons overcooks it into 6th. Mixie is around the bottom side. Here comes Stackley down the bottom, down the short chute. Looking inside. No, he doesn't do it. Locks the brakes up. Gibbons will keep the spot.
Trevor Sieber right there as well in the 09 car. He wants a piece of the action as they work off that turn.
Slipping and sliding off the corner. Siebert getting hungry. He wants to be the top Western guy.
Well, Mixie now up into 3rd. He's looking at a podium finish. Here's the race leader, final couple of turns. And Jeff Lapsevich is going to make it 5 in a row across the country on the road and street circuits in CASCAR as he wins the Canadian Tire 100 here in Vancouver. Don Thompson Jr. grabs 2nd. And the Iron Man in the Power Water Addo and Associates Taurus, Kerry Mix will bring it home for 3rd.
Wow, that was a heck of a race, Ronnie. These Roval racers, and we're down to the Lapsevich pit.
Well, the Jeff Lapsevich team is celebrating again. Ryan Woods, boy, you just keep showing these guys how it's done on the road courses.
Yeah, you know, 5 times in a row. Oh, hey.
A little cool shower coming, I'm thinking.
Words can't explain. Okay. Cool down now. Words can't explain, you know. 5 in a row. Jeff's a hell of a driver. This team is just working so good this year. Yeah, the car was great right out of the box. We had no problems with it all weekend. He's been fast. You know, he set the record. I don't know what to say, man.
Just about as good as it gets for Jeff Lapsevich and the Tim Hortons Retrocrom Chevy.
And congratulations to Ryan Woods there, the crew chief, and a victorious Jeff Lapsevich here in Vancouver. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Well, school is out, and Professor Lapsevich has concluded another lesson here at the Canadian Tire 100. Todd Lewis is standing by with Jeff in the Chaco Winter Circle.
Here comes Jeff Lapsevich out of the car. Here comes wife Sherry and the whole family over to congratulate him. And yeah, sure, come on over and get a congratulatory hug and kiss from the whole family. And a terrific day for Jeff Lapsevich, the Fastline Motorsports team, and we've been saying that an awful lot of these road courses.
Well, you know, it's just been, we've had a pretty good roll here, and we hope we can keep it going next year when we get to these. We got to pick up our oval program a bit, and you know, we're moving up in the points, I guess, and looking pretty good. Donnie gave me a really hard run there. Something happened on the radio, and I got a little flustered there, and it took me a bit to regroup. But I think we had the car to beat, and you know, we brought her home.
It's all worked out. It's all worked out again for Jeff Lapsevich and the Tim Hortons Chevy.
Well, guys, I'd say Caden's spotting days are over for his dad. That's just a little too hard for him to take when he's trying to concentrate in that race car.
All right, here's a look at the final results. Lapsevich, Don Thompson Jr., and Kerry Mix on the podium. Points leader Gibbons settles for 4th. Jim Lapsevich in there for 9th. Beauchamp, a 10th place finish. Young J.R. Fitzpatrick 12th. And down to 20th, Glenn Mueller in his debut gets inside the top 20. Now back down to Todd again with Donnie Thompson.
What a run for Don Thompson Jr., the home hardware Chevy. Crew had to change a motor, but it proved to be a real rocket under the hood.
Yeah, that's a good motor. That's the motor we ran 5 races. Home hardware Chevy was good. When I went over the tires there, I wrecked the front suspension, and car pushed after that. But hey, the home hardware crew worked really hard today, so thumbs up to them.
Don Thompson Jr. and the home hardware team giving it all.
And a look here at the Castro point standing shows Thompson gained 5 on Pete Gibbons, as he's only 15 off the pace now. David Whitlock and Lapsevich tied for 3rd. Kerry Mix is in 5th position, 68 off the pace, and he finished 3rd. He's with Todd Lewis.
Kerry Mix, you pushed him and you pushed him, and Peter Gibbons finally made a mistake and let you in.
Yeah, you know, we had quite the race. I was on his bumper for I don't know how many laps, well, pretty well the whole race. And, you know, this Power Water Ford, Ford, you know, we just finally made it. We got the pass, we got to the podium. We've been here 3 times, and hey, I'm happy to be here.
Kerry Mix is enjoying his trips to Vancouver.
Well, Ronnie, once again, CASCAR been the best show of the weekend here in Vancouver.
And it wouldn't have been possible without the sponsors. And Jim Anderson, a local Vancouver Canadian Tire owner, now presents Jeff Lapsevich with the winning trophy as the winner here on the streets of Vancouver. And congratulations to Don Thompson and Kerry Mix as well, both on the podium. The Canadian Tire 100 has been brought to you by Castro Syntec. Everything else is just motor oil. By Fast Eddie Racewear. Get geared up. By Mopar. Original equipment.